What if your stress isn't just stress? What if it's your body filing a formal complaint with your spirit because you've been ignoring it for years? Yeah. Today, we are getting into alignment. The real kind, not the I bought a crystal and now I am healed kind. Hey, beautiful humans, welcome back to Aura Room, the space where we talk energy, healing, and the unseen stuff that shapes your everyday life. I'm Archita, and today's episode is for the person who looks fine on the outside but feels scrambled on the inside. Because aligning your body, mind, and spirit isn't a luxury, it's a leadership strategy. It's nervous system hygiene. It's how you stop leaking energy into people, patterns, and places that don't deserve you. And my guest today? Oh, she's just not a guest. She's a whole experience. So, I'm joined by Jennifer Pilates, a globally sought after Pilates rehabilitative specialist with 25 plus years of experience, an intuitive medium Reiki master, spiritual mentor, and holistic wellness expert. Jennifer's path started in the fitness world, then a traumatic car accident cracked something open. But instead of just rebuilding her body, she unlocked a deeper understanding of body, mind, and spirit. And that awakening amplified her intuitive gifts and her work as healing empath. Now, she supports clients worldwide through her podcast, Empowered Within, high level coaching, intuitive readings, and healing sessions. And fair warning, her conversations are not surface level. She's warm, electric, and she tells the truth in a way that lands in your chest. So, welcome, Jennifer. It's a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you so much for having me, and what a beautiful introduction. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna need to hire you.
Well, thanks for that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to get into this conversation with you. And before we start, just want to let you know that I love Pilates, even though I've never tried it. But yeah,
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. It really is such a beautiful modality, and it's a modality that's made up of lots of other modalities. That's how Joseph Pilates designed it. It originally was called contrology, which was all about controlling the body, mind, and spirit. And so he studied a lot of yoga and ancient Grecian regimens and really fused all of these different things together, which became contrology, which later he then named the Pilates method after himself, Joseph Pilates.
that's amazing. And all of this just sounds so fascinating. Let's get deeper into this and let's learn more about Pilates now. So, Jennifer, a lot of people are functioning, but they are not aligned. So, how do you personally define alignment in a way that's real and not just pretty words?
hmm And it's such a great question to have, especially this time of year when we have holidays and there's a lot of stress and there can be a lot of depression and anxiety and grief. It's not always a happy time for every person. And I think that people forget that. And we really need to have grace for everyone that's around us. And so when you ask, what is one of the ways to know when you're not in alignment? It's all of those things. When you're feeling not okay, when maybe you're depressed or you're angry or you're agitated or you're frustrated, those are all telltale signs of being out of alignment. Those are the moments to go, whoa, wait a minute. What's happening here? What's really at the root core? Why am I really upset at this red light and it's turned green and this guy isn't moving? Is this really about what is it really about? And that's the key. And when I work with people, it's so important to get to the root cause of what's really going on. Because when you can go there, it becomes a ripple effect to everything else within your body, mind, and spirit, and in your worlds, both personally and professionally. So, the biggest place when you know that you're not in alignment is you don't feel good. Whether you're sick, whether you're cranky, whether you're tired, it's all those low level energy feelings where your body, your mind, and your spirit is saying, hey, something's off. Will you please pay attention? And what happens is sometimes people go, when I woke up, I'm tired. I'm on the wrong side of the bed. I'll have an extra cup of coffee. That'll get me through it. Well, the universe and your body will keep nudging at you. So the pain will get worse, right? The dis-ease will become a disease if we don't begin to pay attention and listen to what our body is asking for. So that's why it's so important to, one, pay attention to when you are and are not in alignment. And when you're not, to acknowledge it and to get to that root cause of what's causing it.
Absolutely. And feel like sometimes, we wake up cranky. We don't exactly know why it's happening, but we are always in a bad mood. And we just can't figure it out. Like, why is this happening? Most of the time, it's just that because our body, mind, and spirit are not aligned together. So, on that note, Jennifer, what are the first signs you notice when somebody's body is running the show because the spirit got muted?
So a lot of times we call that someone being in fight or flight. So they may have an overbooked schedule. There is no need, there's no time to rest. It's that friend that even when you go over to their house, they can't sit down and they're always busy, busy, busy doing something. Those are telltale signs of people's bodies, their nervous system, it's in fight or flight. And what that means is it's dysregulated. It's not in alignment. And when our nervous system is acting that way, when we're in fight or flight, our hormones are off, our adrenals are off. It's this warning sign in your body going, warning, warning, warning. I feel like I'm in danger. Your body, your nervous system. And so sometimes it's like, well, if I just keep going, it'll be okay. Because some people actually fear the moment that if they took the time to slow down, to sit down, and maybe have a conversation with you, they may lose it. They may start to just release everything that's been building up in them because it's easier to keep moving and pushing it down than to actually sit and deal with what's really going on. And again, that and another way of getting to the root cause. And I'm not saying that it's easy because it's not. We've all had those moments where we've had moments of living in fight or flight. Sometimes we're in it and we don't even recognize it until it's so far in. And then you go, oh my goodness gracious, I need to take care of myself. What am I going to do to shift it? And in those moments, I want you to give yourself grace because you've acknowledged it. And even the smallest of little steps is going to help you to shift that and to help your body come into a regulated state so that you feel better, so that your nervous system feels safer, and then you feel empowered within.
Hmm. Yeah, I have seen so many people do that, whenever there's something going on in their mind, they tend to do something physically. They tend to ignore their body in some kind of work to maybe distract themselves. And I won't lie, even I have done that. So I guess I finally understand why that happens and how to avoid that. And it
Mhm.
hits, yeah, it hits because you're basically saying success can be a trauma response if your nervous system is driving the bus. So yeah. So Jennifer, yeah. So Jennifer, you have lived the shift from physical rehab to deeper spiritual work. What did your body teach you that your mind refused to accept at first?
Everything, right? Because your ego is there to protect you. Your ego is going to say, "Oh no, 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 no. You've always done it this way. This is what we know, and this is what's safe. How dare you try to change? How dare you think you're gonna shift? Oh, no." And it will play, right? It'll play out. All those fears, those insecurities, and that's when, you really have, I say, faith and believe and hope and lean into what feels right. And when you can do that, that's when you're really leaning into your intuition. You're leaning into learning how to be in alignment and what that feels like. And what will happen is then those moments where you're not in alignment and the nervous system is deregulated, that you will catch it much more quickly. And it will become much more of a bad taste in your mouth, so to speak, that you won't want to stay in those feelings anymore. And so for me, when I had that shift, and I've had numerous shifts, I know a lot of people think that people have one major spiritual awakening and that's it. And the truth be told, there's numerous ones that we all go through. And it just depends on if you are acknowledging it or not. And so for me, there's been lots of different ones that have led to the next ones that had basically led me to where I'm at now. And I like to tell people, you're always learning. This is called School of Earth. So if we're not learning, then what are we doing here? This is the hardest place to agree to come to. And a lot of people don't realize that. You've agreed to it. You've actually agreed to everything going on in your life. And there were moments where I would kick and scream and say, oh, no, no, no. But now I look back and say, if it wasn't for certain things that transpired, I wouldn't be who I am and be able to share my gifts with the world. So I always like to tell people, you can take your pain and turn it into purpose. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. It's not going to happen overnight because you have to work through it first. You have to get through it. And then you have this incredible story to share that the world needs to hear because it's always not only you. And that's something that I have learned along the way. There's a lot of different things lessons that I have learned and blessings that have come out of them that have not been easy at all. And it always has opened up more of an intuitive awareness it's like the next deep layer, the next layer. So if you think of it in layman terms of you go to kindergarten or preschool, kindergarten, maybe middle school, maybe high school, and then college, each one is a graduation into the other. And when you're here on earth and when you choose to work on yourself and when you choose to align with your intuition and your spirituality, whatever that looks like to you, you go through phases just like that of graduating from one to another to another. And just like school, it's not easy, right? If it was, I guess it would be fabulous, but it's not. And you wouldn't necessarily get all of the lessons and understand the blessings that come with them. So for me, it's definitely been a lot, starting with that car accident in 1997, to fast forwarding to realizing that my entire first part of my life, I was living in fight or flight. I know it very well, all too well. Having gone through toxicity in family situations and never knowing where all the dis-ease in my body was coming from. That was my fight or flight. That was my body trying to give me warning signs, but I didn't know because I didn't know what I know now. And that's what I like to tell people. You don't know what you don't know until you know. But then when you know, you have a responsibility to yourself to do better because now you know better.
Wow, that is a quote that I will be using in the future for sure. So, and actually love the example that you just gave, the analogy that you just shared, that life is just one graduation after another, which is so true. And it's a very bittersweet way of looking into it. But through all of it, I think uh through all of it, I think there are just some things that our body knows better than our mind does. And yeah, basically that. Which makes me curious, if someone is dealing with chronic tension or pain, what's one question they can ask their body today to start decoding the message?
That's an excellent question. And it's a very deep, deep, deep layered question there. And one of the things, if someone is willing to get honest with themselves, I would first say take yourself out of your environment. Take yourself out of your environment where you feel the pain, the dis-ease, because you cannot heal yourself in the same environment that is making you ill. So, in order to determine this, you can simply, perhaps it's leave your home and go to the park, go to the ocean, go to the beach, go sit somewhere and get really clear. Does it dissipate when you are in nature or when you are by the ocean? And If in fact it does, which 9 times out of 10 I can promise you it will, then we have to get really clear on what's going on in our world and what can we do to help work on ourselves, because there's something that's out of alignment and we need to work on ourselves to bring it into alignment. And so we have to get really honest with ourselves. And so it becomes like an onion. You peel back layers at a time, and you can only go as deep as you are ready to go. And that's what's important with my clients. When I work with them, I meet them where they're at. I don't just have you come in and we just rip apart the onion and we go right to the core. You could definitely be missing lessons along the way that you need. So it's a much gentler process as we work through things, because it becomes your revelation. It becomes a journey that I'm on with you to help guide you so that you feel that empowerment from within. I'm not here to tell you everything. I'm your lighthouse in the dark to help guide you on your path so that you're learning and empowering yourself to feel safe within yourself.
Wow, that makes so much sense, and I think that that's part of the reason why so many people tell you if you're depressed or if you're feeling low, to get out of the house. I think a change of environment is all the body and the mind need sometimes. So I love that. It's like the body doesn't speak English. It speaks sensation, timing, and patterns, and sometimes it can get used to it. So it's very important to keep changing that as well. So, Jennifer, you are an intuitive medium, and I know some listeners are like, cool, I'm not psychic. So, let's go there. Do you believe intuition is a skill that anyone can strengthen, or is it just a gift for a few?
I believe, and it's actually been proven scientifically, that everyone has intuition. It's up to the individual if they choose to lean into it and use it. And so that's where, yes, can you strengthen it like a muscle? Absolutely. Because it takes time, just as it takes time to have self worth and self value and self confidence, to believe in yourself, the same would come with intuition, and it comes on various levels. And so you work with it, and in time, it can expand and grow, just as your self confidence would, or your self value when you're working on yourself, if that makes sense. And so, absolutely 100%. And the easiest thing I always like to tell people is you could be driving down the road and you just get that gut right from your belly, that gut instinct. That's your intuition talking to you. And it's up to you if you'd like to listen to it or not. And some days you will, and some days you won't. And then you'd be like, "Oh, I should have went left, you know. Oh, now I'm stuck in traffic." Well, your intuition tried to tell you to go the other way. And so it becomes something that I tell people, use a little bit at a time and work with your guides and angels. So an easy thing is, say you're going to the store and you're getting ready to pull in, and you can immediately say, "Thank you, God and angels, for this front row parking spot." That's a way to up level your energies. You're working on your manifestation. You're calling in your assistance, because it's not all about you. You see, the universe wants to work with you. You co create. And so now you're developing that energetic connection. And so you can go, "Oh, there it is." And now you walk into the store and you go, "Gosh, I forget why I'm here, but I know I'm here for a reason." And suddenly you turn and that sweater that you wanted is on sale. So there's little things that, if you pay attention and you keep a journal, I always have clients, keep a journal when they're starting, so that you can really understand, like, wow, I knew that. There are things that are still coming to pass now that I gave predictions on 10 years ago that amaze me, that I don't always understand what comes out of my mouth when I'm sharing it with a client. But it's not for me to understand when I'm in a reading. It's up, does it resonate with you? And does it make sense for you? Because I say some wild things, and it amazes me sometimes, the things that actually come to fruition. But I have learned through major, major, major insights, I'll call them, that have come to me, that have been life or death, that I live my life by intuition and by my faith every day. I live talking to God and my angels all day long. And if something doesn't feel right, then I know it's not right for me in that moment. maybe it might shift. But in that moment, if something doesn't feel right, whatever it is, then I don't partake. And that's okay. And it takes a while to get there, to really lean in and trust yourself. But absolutely everyone has it, and everyone has the ability to work with it.
That's beautiful. And yes, I feel like intuition is something that everyone possess, and there are certain things that cannot be explained, but they can be experienced. And I also connect intuition with sixth sense, which everyone definitely possess to some extent. So yeah, it everyone can develop it if they want to. Definitely, it's that inner voice inside you that you must listen to. So this has been an amazing conversation, Jennifer, and I have learned a lot from it, and I'm sure that our listeners have too. So, on that note, I'm sure that a lot of our listeners are now feeling even more connected to you. So, if they have any queries or maybe they want to connect with you, how can they do that? Could you share with them?
Absolutely. The easiest way to get in touch with me is to head to jenniferpilates.com, and you'll find all of the information there, from my readings to Pilates and yoga workouts to our Empowered Within podcast. And you can always feel free to send me a message to say through the contact that you've heard this episode, and I would be happy to extend a special discount just to you on whatever services you're looking at.
Great. So, I'll have all the details on my show listing, and our listeners are free to connect with you. All right, or our own fam, here's your mini challenge for the week. It's simple, but it's not easy. Once a day, pause and ask your body, what am I holding? Your mind, what story am I repeating? And your spirit, what truth am I avoiding? And then do one tiny alignment action. Drink water, say no, take the walk, cancel the thing, tell the truth gently, and choose yourself without announcing it. Because alignment isn't a vibe, it's a series of decisions. If this episode resonates, share it with a friend who has been carrying too much while pretending they're fine. And if you haven't already, follow our room so you don't miss what's coming next.